Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that's absolutely crucial for massive, complex industries. We're talking power plants, aviation, heavy manufacturing. How do they prevent disastrous machine failures before they even happen? Well, spoiler alert, they don't just cross their fingers and hope for the best. They use a seriously powerful, systematic methodology, and that's exactly what we're breaking down today.
Here's our roadmap. We'll start with the maintenance dilemma, then move to not all machines are equal. Next, we'll hit the 7 RCM questions, followed by analyzing and preventing failure. Finally, we'll wrap up with the RCM advantage.
Section 1. The maintenance dilemma, and why traditional methods fall short. Okay, let's dive right into this. To really grasp why we need a better system, think about the incredibly high stakes of keeping a massive industrial plant running. Historically, industries were kind of trapped between two extremes. First up, you've got reactive maintenance, basically running a machine until it literally breaks. The problem there, you're risking disastrous consequences. We're talking serious personnel safety hazards, environmental spills, and massive economic loss from sudden downtime. On the flip side, you have calendar-based maintenance. This means fixing things on a strict schedule, regardless of their actual condition. Sure, it's safer, but you're often wasting an absolute fortune replacing perfectly good parts. Obviously, we needed a better way to balance these two extremes.
And enter reliability-centered maintenance, or RCM for short.
What is reliability-centered maintenance? RCM identifies critical failures and selects the most effective maintenance strategy. Improve reliability and reduce downtime with RCM.
The goal of RCM isn't just about repairing broken things quickly. It's actually about preventing functional failures in the very first place. It's all about ensuring safety and optimizing costs based on just how important that specific asset is to the whole operation.
Section 2. Not all machines are equal. The criticality analysis.
To prevent failures efficiently across a huge facility, you've got to start prioritizing, right? Which brings us to this core truth. Not every component requires the same maintenance strategy. Think about a complex facility, like a massive coal-fired power plant, kind of like the human body. If you get a paper cut, you just slap a bandage on it and move on with your day. But if you break your leg, you need immediate, rigorous medical intervention. The responses have to be entirely different because the consequences are entirely different.
So to manage this, RCM prioritizes assets into criticality classes, usually ranging from critical down to low. Critical equipment, the broken legs of our plants if you will, gets the most rigorous maintenance programs because their failure impacts safety, the environment, or causes massive production losses. But on the other hand, low criticality items, say a burnt-out office light bulb, might just be categorized as run to failure. We literally just wait and replace them when they break because the consequence of them failing is virtually zero.
Section 3. The 7 RCM questions, a diagnostic toolkit. Now we're getting to the absolute heart of the methodology. Think of these 7 RCM questions as a master detective's diagnostic toolkit used to solve the ultimate puzzle of plant reliability. The investigation always starts right here. Question 1, what are the functions of the equipment? And question 2, what are the functional failures? Take a second to think about that distinction. We aren't asking how does it break, we're asking what is it actually supposed to do? Let's look at a power plant example to make this super concrete. The function of a boiler is to generate high-pressure steam, right? Therefore, a functional failure doesn't necessarily mean the whole boiler exploded, it simply means the boiler can no longer produce the designed steam pressure. A functional failure just means the equipment can no longer do what we specifically needed to do to keep the plant running efficiently. So once we know what a failure actually looks like, we drill down into the root causes. That brings us to question 3. What causes each functional failure? These are known as the failure modes. And question 4. What happens when the failure occurs? These are the failure effects. And this brilliantly illustrates the cause and effect relationship in action. A failure mode might be a bearing failure, a seal leakage, or maybe some corrosion. The effect is what the operator actually experiences on the floor. So a very specific cause, like a bearing failure, directly leads to a massive effect, like a turbine trip or a pump stopping entirely. Which perfectly sets up question 5, arguably the single most important question in the entire toolkit. What are the consequences of failure? This is where we step back and evaluate the true, real-world impact of the effect we just identified.
Now, RCM strictly classifies these consequences into 4 categories, and notice the strict hierarchy here. Safety is always, absolutely always the highest priority, preventing personnel injury, fires, explosions. After that comes environmental, preventing things like oil leaks or emissions. Then operational, like avoiding a full plant shutdown. And finally, economic consequences, which cover those high repair costs and lost generation.
Essentially, if a failure impacts safety, it demands the absolute most aggressive prevention strategy, no compromises.
Finally, we reach the ultimate decision-making point for the maintenance teams. Question 6, what can be done to prevent failure? And question 7, what should be done if no suitable maintenance task exists? Depending on how you answered those first 5 questions, the solution to question 6 might be a highly targeted maintenance task. But sometimes, and this is exactly what question 7 is getting at, there just isn't an economic or technical fix available. In those cases, the team might actually have to completely redesign the system, install redundant backup equipment, or, hey, if the safety and environmental consequences are low enough, they might simply accept a controlled run to failure. Section 4. Analyzing and preventing failure. Frameworks in action. So, how do we take all this diagnostic detective work and actually use it on the factory floor? Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how a failure modes and effects analysis, or FMEA table, ties all this detective work together. Let's trace that first row. We have our equipment, the boiler feed pump. We identify the failure mode, bearing failure. The root cause, poor lubrication. The effect, the pump trips. And finally, the customized RCM maintenance fix, routine oil analysis, and vibration monitoring. See how that works? We literally track the asset from its specific vulnerability all the way to its exact targeted solution.
Because we know the specific failure modes, we can choose the absolute perfect strategy from this list. We might use predictive maintenance, like that vibration analysis we just mentioned, to catch a failing bearing early. We'd use corrective or run to failure for the non-critical stuff. But I want you to pay attention to that last bullet point: failure finding. This is a fascinating strategy that is absolutely crucial for hidden systems. Think about things like emergency shutdown systems or backup generators. You don't actually know they're broken until you desperately need them, right? So RCM mandates specific failure finding tests just to make sure those hidden protectors are still awake and ready to go.
Section 5. The RCM Advantage. Overcoming challenges for high rewards.
Now, we definitely have to acknowledge that implementing a system this detailed is a pretty heavy lift. It requires a high initial effort. You need highly accurate historical asset data, trained multidisciplinary teams of both engineers and operators, and some pretty complex software integrations. And honestly, because operating conditions are always changing, this isn't just a set-it-and-forget-it project. It requires continuous review. But look at the benefits here. Despite those initial hurdles, the rewards for complex assets, like those coal-fired power plants, are simply undeniable. You get significantly higher equipment reliability and a massive reduction in forced surprise outages. Because you're only doing maintenance when and where it's truly needed based on risk, you actually lower your overall maintenance costs while simultaneously extending the life of the equipment. Oh, and you drastically improve plant safety while you're at it. Let's directly juxtapose these two approaches one last time to really cement the value proposition. Traditional maintenance is calendar-based. It only reacts to safety hazards after they occur, and it constantly suffers from unexpected downtime. Reliability-centered maintenance, on the other hand, is entirely risk and reliability-based. It is proactively focused on safety and optimizes the entire life cycle cost of the plant. It preserves the actual function of the equipment rather than just waiting around to react to broken parts. It's a total game changer.
Which leaves us with this final thought for today. When you look at the incredibly complex systems that power our world, or, hey, even the systems in your own operations, is your maintenance strategy actively preventing functional failures? Or are you just waiting for them to happen? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this sparks some curiosity about the hidden systems keeping our critical industries running smoothly.
What is reliability-centered maintenance? RCM identifies critical failures and selects the most effective maintenance strategy. Improve reliability and reduce downtime with RCM.